Muy buenas noches a todos. Bienvenidos a la oración de la noche en este primer miércoles de Adviento. Bienvenidos. Que el Dios Todopoderoso nos conceda una noche tranquila y un perfecto fin. Amén. Nuestro auxilio está en el nombre del Señor, quien hizo el cielo y la tierra.
I'm the Reverend Stephanie Parker, and I am coming to you as we approach the second Sunday of Advent from the historic chapel at St. Paul's, Wilkesboro. As we do come into the second Sunday of Advent, it is always where we meet the fiery and distinctive character of John the Baptist, a voice crying out in the wilderness. The wilderness has always been such a rich and wonderful theme in a life of faith with God. God called his people into the wilderness, out of slavery into freedom. And Jesus, as he rose up out of the waters of baptism, was driven into the wilderness by the Holy Spirit to confront his demons and to become the man that God had called and formed him to be. All of us, if we are fortunate, find ourselves in not one but many wilderness experiences. And I think it could be argued that 2020, with all of its converging challenges and problems, is one big wilderness experience that we all find ourselves in. Often in these wilderness times, we feel alone, we feel vulnerable, we feel frightened because everything that's always worked for us in the world suddenly doesn't work anymore. Whether it's a relationship or it's a job, sometimes we just suddenly come to ourselves and we find that our lives simply do not work anymore. And that is why wilderness is such a powerful place for God to find us. Because in this space, we are so vulnerable, we are so raw. And it is then when we are emptied of all of the ways that we fill ourselves to maybe not confront those things in our lives that are challenging for us. Suddenly we find that we are empty enough at long last to be filled with God, to be filled for God's hope for us, to maybe there from that wilderness place gain a new identity, not as whoever we were in the world, but maybe for the first time ever to discover our true identity as a beloved child of God. So if the second Sunday of Advent finds you in the wilderness that is of a personal nature, or whether you're feeling acutely the wilderness experience of traveling through this pandemic time with all of its isolation and all of its agreements or disagreements about face masks and how we get through this crisis, I want you to not be afraid. Go out to John in that rich and wonderful desert place and know that God will meet you there.
Oremos juntos. Dios Todopoderoso, danos gracia para despojarnos de las obras de las tinieblas y revestirnos con las armas de la luz, ahora en esta vida mortal, en la cual Jesucristo, tu Hijo, con gran humildad vino a visitarnos, a fin de que en el día postrero, cuando vuelva con majestad gloriosa a juzgar a vivos y muertos, resucitemos a la vida inmortal, mediante Él, quien vive y reina contigo y el Espíritu Santo, un solo Dios, ahora y por siempre. Amén. Espero que este tiempo de Adviento sea un tiempo de esperanza y de luz. Buenas noches.